Okay, so this is gonna be a long ass video and I'm gonna curse a lot, but here we go. You are probably entitled. If you are watching this on YouTube and you're younger than 35, you're probably entitled. I know I was, and this is why I want to talk about this. So I've been an artist for nearly 10 years now. I have learned how to produce, how to mix and master songs, how to edit videos, how to do graphic design, how to make art. And I also learned how to play trombone on a collegiate level. I am making no money because I'm on disability. I'm making no money because I also have schizoaffective. I cannot afford to have a job where I'm on a full-time basis because of my disability. So let's look at this from a dating perspective, right? Let's look at this from someone who is trying to date a man and they want someone who is stable, secure, healthy, and good looking, okay? To them, I meet none of those standards because I'm an Asian American male. Let me explain. So the thing is, Asian American males, whether you believe it or not, have such a hard time in the United States getting to be in relationships. The same reasons why Asian American girls are seen as hot topic items for men to pick up is because both men and women on Asian American sides are seen as small, insecure, weak, beta, and submissive. So the same reason why Asian girls are maybe seen as hot topic items is the same exact reason why Asian American males are not able to be in relationships. I read an article that talked about a man who's an Asian American male, successful. He had 2 dates on dating apps since 2017. The article was listed like updated in 2021 or 2020. And so let's think about this in perspective of a woman who is wanting to date someone, right? They want all this stuff. And because they see me, they see, it doesn't matter that I'm a successful graphic designer, that I worked my way from the bottom and I was able to make a small business. They see someone who is Asian, uneducated, with no degree, no job, no car, no house. So they automatically think, well, I don't want to date him because that makes him less attractive. These are very, very big generalizations, but a lot of them are true. But think about it. This is not just goes for male towards female or female towards male or whatever you identify with, towards whatever you identify with. Do you think that this person who thinks they deserve this much actually deserves that much? Okay, maybe they work out. Maybe they do have a good job. Maybe they do have a good family. But how much of that was earned by that person by themselves? Did they get a gym membership? Where did they get the money from? Did they have a car so you can go to the gym? Where did they get that from? There are so many people who are entitled. They think they deserve everything in the world, even though they have not worked anything for it. Baby boomers, and I grew up with Asian baby boomers as parents. My dad has 3 master's degrees and is working at a gas station. My mom has a bachelor's degree and she's disabled right now because of a back issue, but she's working in restaurant. She is working in the restaurant industry for over 15 years. They do not choose to have fancy jobs, not because they're just humble and lowly, because they can't get jobs. Asian American older generation adults just don't get opportunities because of the language barrier and racism and prejudice. Do you think someone who's experienced in business and education but doesn't talk really well English is going to be at a corporate level job in North America? Probably not. So I spent about 30 minutes venting to my friend Brian about all this, and I was really concerned because I'm doing everything in my power. I'm doing everything in my power to make myself better. I lost weight. I'm down to 12% body fat at 230 pounds, which is really hard to do. It doesn't matter if I don't have a 6-pack. That's the facts. That's what I've worked for through diet, clean eating, water, and jujitsu. If you are overweight, it is your fault. If you are diabetic, pre-diabetic, that is your fault. If you're diabetic from born with it, that is not your fault. There's plenty of people who are diabetic who are able to get a control of their diabetes. There are things you can do to make your life better. And most people, if you're overweight, that is your fault. Eating, for me, was, if you don't have a mental illness and if you don't have something that's literally just eating you alive because of a condition, whenever you're not able to get medication, that is not your fault. If you are mentally sound and abusing drugs and alcohol, abusing food, abusing alcohol, I already said that, doing these things and you feel unhappy, that is your fault and only your fault. It's not your parents' fault. It's that people like, oh, well, this issue caused me. There's therapy for that. I get it. And I'm going to be really, really blunt. You don't need to drink. You don't need to eat to make yourself feel better. You're like, well, it's hard. Of course it's hard. You've made millions of really unhealthy decisions over the years, and making small changes, it seems impossible. But the thing is, businesses and corporations sell you this idea that you can make money quick, which is not true. You can lose fat quick. That's not true. You can get strong quick. That's not true. None of it is fast. You have to start with small, measurable, attainable, reasonable, timely goals to get you where to go. That means you need to write stuff down. That's right. You need to remember. You need to remember your goals. You need to motivate yourself every day. It's hard work. If you don't do jiu-jitsu because you're not interested, fine. But in this day and age, you need to learn how to defend yourself. You need to learn how to use a weapon. I cannot use a weapon because I have mental health issues that are really severe. And even if I learn how to handle a gun, even learn how to handle a knife, I would probably kill myself with those items. So I do jiu-jitsu to learn. My professor in jiu-jitsu would not sponsor me if I was not doing these things. I choose to be open, vulnerable, honest, but also hardworking. And this is not being arrogant. These are things I've earned. If you think that I'm being arrogant, ask me how much I get paid a month. I get paid $461 every month, with maybe a commission every month or every other month. That is it. If we're doing, let's just say I get $500 a month for 12 months. Do you know how much that is? That is, so 4 times 12, is it 5 times 12? That's $6,000 a month. I live with my parents. Is that bad? No, because they help me. But people need to fucking understand that as hard as I work, I don't get paid 6 figures. I don't have a job. I do everything in my power to manage these things. But if you're sitting with a car, with a job, with money, with resources, a computer, and say you can't do anything, you are entitled, you are a liar. To the men out there, if you focus only on your body and then tell people that you know how to fight, you are entitled. If you went into the ring with any amateur fighter, you would lose. Any hate comment that I get from this video is a sign that you are entitled. If you think I'm being too much, find someone less than me. Find someone who is not doing as much as you and don't go talk to them. Live your miserable lives, because that's what you're doing. Do you know how expensive it is to have a nightlife? If you live in a city, that's rent you're paying, that's expensive. Okay? If you're living in a city, you have a car. If you're living in a city and you can afford to drink, to take girls out or take guys out, that's money. Protection. People don't understand that protection or Plan B costs a lot of money. Women in the UK, tampons are luxury items. That is pure sexism, pure discrimination, and probably more racist towards lower minorities because they can't afford these things. If you tell me you have all these things and you're not happy, that is your fucking fault. People dog religion all the time. I'm not religious. I'm atheist. But people don't understand that a lot of these people who are in religions, whether or not they're happy or not, they're in pretty stable families. Maybe they're dysfunctional, sure. Maybe they go through a lot, sure. But a lot of people in religious organizations, Christians, Mormons, Muslims, whatever, even though there might be abuse or whatever in the family, they don't get divorced. Because they believe that you have to stay together, whether or not you're happy or not. Even if you just stay miserable in the relationship together, you're still keeping a mom and a dad, whatever you identify with, together. And that means the kids have a mom and a dad. African Americans, Hispanics, especially Hispanics and African Americans, there's such a large portion of them who don't have access to not medical care, not cars. They don't have parents. Gang violence, drug use. And to a certain point, yeah, sure, they might have done these things. But there's a lot of cases where people get shot, people try something for one time, they were wrong place, wrong time, they didn't mean it. Genuine mistakes. A lot of people that go to jail deserve to go to jail. Some people that go to prison do not. There is genuine injustice. Like, I got 2 felonies for assaulting 2 nurses because I was psychotic from a medication that my doctor gave me. That is not just. I did not do that on purpose. I could have gone 2 to 10 years in prison. So imagine this. Do you know how open I am on mental health and everything? What if I was not here giving you content about bettering yourself and living a better life? What if I was in prison? What if I lost psychosis and lost my mind? What if I never saw my parents die? Never got to go to the funeral? Because there are plenty of people in prison, whether or not they deserve it or not, who don't get to see their parents' funerals. They don't get to see their sisters and brothers have kids and get married. They don't. And that's the thing. People don't realize that entitlement leads to prison. And people get away with it because they're entitled. They're given these opportunities. That rapist, Brock Turner, he got away with it, and he got away with it. It's not, oh, no, he raped someone. He raped someone. He got away with it because he had money. He had privilege. I'm not saying that all white people have privilege. Rich people have privilege. Rich Asians, rich black people, rich Hispanics, rich whoever. Who are the rich Hispanics? Probably drug dealers. Who are the rich black people? Corporations. I'm not saying that all the Hispanics are drug dealers. I'm not saying, but like, that's just an example. A lot of rich people are fucking awful people. Politicians, drug dealers, drug cartels, prostitution. Like, those people are making life worse for other people around the world. And you think because you did not get a date because your Instagram was not nice enough or you didn't get enough follows that you deserve a better life? Fuck you. Fuck all you stand for and get out of my channel. If you want to leave a hate comment, okay, leave a hate comment. But just know that I still know you're entitled. I could get 1,000 hate comments on this video. You're entitled. You just are. You absolutely are. When it comes to being an artist, millennials and Gen Zers, mainly Gen Zers, are like, I can go to college, do what I love to do, art, specifically art or music, and make money. You probably can't. The reason why people like Post Malone, Justin Bieber, all these people who are successful and young, Lil Nas X, they were extremely lucky. They're not even the best at what they do, but they are extremely lucky because corporations saw this as an opportunity to make a product out of them. That's where they are, a product. Pop stars are usually a product of corporations. That's not all true in cases. You can work with pop organizations, you can make pop music and still be genuine, like Eminem, like Beyonce, like whatever. And very strong disclaimer. I'm not saying I know everything about everything, but whenever you're this pissed off and want to share with the world about how you feel, sometimes your judgment can be a little bit clouded because you need to focus it on what is wrong, what you feel is wrong. And I'm not talking about things like, oh, well, this person didn't date me or I didn't get the grades I wanted. No. You didn't get the person you dated because you're an asshole. You didn't get the grades you wanted because you're not that smart, or you're not working hard enough, or maybe you're just not the best. And that's okay. You don't have to be the best to be successful. You don't. But I want to be the best. You don't have to. Like Derek Lewis, UFC fighter, number three contender for the heavyweight championship. He's just there for a paycheck. And he's one of the best heavyweights in the UFC. He's fought for the title multiple times. And you have to understand that, like, well, I don't know if he fought for the title, but he's fought people who fought for the title. So all this to say, if you feel like anything I'm saying is triggering you or is making you upset, don't get mad at me. Look inward and change. If you are a really attractive person who's not used to dating outside your race, date people outside your race. Understand what makes them attractive. Don't just go based on your personal preferences because of how you grew up. Go branch out a little bit. If you refuse to date outside of your race, you are probably racist or have some really bad trauma. If you're an artist and want to make it out in the world, you're probably not going to. And for you to assume that you can right away after college tells me that a schizophrenic like me, someone who's working their butt off and literally can't do any job besides art, that tells me that you are entitled. If you get a job that makes you 5 to 6 figures and it's not art, you're doing great. You can buy a house, you can do all this stuff, because artists don't have health benefits. Artists don't have vacation time. They don't have HR. They don't have all these resources that people with actual jobs do. And these are actual jobs. If you want to be an artist, you have to be a genius or be extremely shrewd and cunning on how you are going to make yourself stand out. My goal is not to offend people, but if this offends you, it's your fault. If this upsets you or makes you feel like, yeah, this is right, you're in the right, because you need to change. You need to be challenged. If you think that you never need to be challenged your whole entire life, you're fucking stupid. You're fucking stupid, and you need to give everything that you have to someone who deserves it. Because there are people. Do you think that someone who flunked out of Harvard is going to be a maintenance janitor who paid $12 an hour, but will give him housing, food, possible benefits? Of course not, because he thinks he needs to go to Harvard. He thinks he needs to play basketball with them. It doesn't matter if you're white. Look, I don't think white privilege is real. It just so happens that a lot of fucking rich people are in power, and it sucks. I get that. But those people have been there for a long time. Whether they earned it, got a spoon fed to them, so they feel like they earned it because they're there. They've been there for a long time. So of course it might corrupt them. Look, I'm not saying that you're a bad person if you're entitled. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying though is, if you're entitled and you don't think you are killing people. You are not helping people. You're not helping Tyrone, who lost his mother to a gangbang incident. His dad got killed in a drive-by, whatever, drugs, whatever. You're not helping him. You're taking that for yourself. If you have money, give it to people. Give it to the right people. Give it to organizations that you know for a fact will help you. If you have a friend who is in need, help that person. Do they need a ride? Well, can you afford the gas? Do you have the time? Give a ride to that person. If you can trust those people around you to do the same thing for you in any other way. If you have someone that you help out monetarily or physically, and they turn out and be your friend, be empathetic, be compassionate, that's worth more than money. Because there's a lot of people in this world that don't give a shit about you, don't give a shit about me, and just want just want to make the world burn, whether they realize it or not. I don't make these kinds of videos. I don't. But if you want to change the world, you have to stop being entitled. Don't think that because you went to school and you served a volunteer, so you know how the world is. You're not an old soul. You just went through a lot and you think that you know everything. You're not. You're not an old soul. Sure, you might like old music. You might have parents who talk to you stuff. But if you think you're an old soul and you're just better than everyone and you're 18 years old, shut the fuck up. Learn some life. You have a lot of life to live. I'm 27. I've been an adult for 10 years. That's a child. That's a 4th or 5th grader. I don't know shit. But because I suffered and I was challenged and I survived, I know a lot more than I used to. And you have to understand that suffering doesn't always pay off. People commit suicide. People die. People die to horrible accidents. Is that God? Is that just cruel nature? That's just the way life is. So if you have parents, love them. You have sisters, brothers, love them, because they not be here. You're not guaranteed them the next day. You're not guaranteed the next minute of your life. Because whether or not you believe in hell, heaven, no afterlife, know this. Know this very much. If you waste your resources now, you're killing the rest of humanity. I just want to date someone and be in a relationship. I just want to be able to make enough money to survive, to support my family. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. That's it. We got to be better. We have to learn how to actually fix our issues. You have to be held accountable by people who genuinely care about us. If you want to get better as a person, do jiu-jitsu. Do Muay Thai, do judo, because you'll be pushed like you have never been pushed before. And if you're entitled, you will quit. I don't care how many injuries you have. It's one thing if you have too many injuries to the point where you can't do it anymore. Like if you're paralyzed or something, that doesn't usually happen. But if you're safe about it, do jiu-jitsu until you can't do it anymore. Be held accountable until you can't do jiu-jitsu anymore. Because if you don't, who's going to hold you accountable? People do jiu-jitsu because they have teachers and professors who hold accountable, like family members and parents and mentors. If a good jiu-jitsu school doesn't want to take your money, they want you as an individual. If they want to take your money, if they're making you all these classes, buy a bunch of shit you don't need, get out. I'm sorry for yelling at you guys for 20 some odd minutes, but I'm angry. I'm pissed off. I want things to get better, but it only starts when you choose to be better, when you choose to be held accountable and not be entitled.